Hey everybody, what is going on? Sean here with Zero to Income, and here's what we want to do today. We're going to go in and we're going to create a newsletter. And what we want to focus on is making sure that if we're using the visual editor, all right, this is where you're pretty much doing what they call an HTML form of your email. We want to make sure that that's mobile friendly. If you're using just a plain text editor, not going to be a big deal because you're not going to have things like images and graphs and things like that. They're going to show up in a plain text email. But if you're using a visual editor, you want to make sure that that thing looks good on mobile. So that being said, let's jump over here into our emails. We're going to go and we are going to create a newsletter in our system.io account. We're going to click on create. And again, we have the visual editor selected. Again, if you have the classic editor is just going to be text. And so you're not going to have any kind of mobile issues with the classic editor. But if you're one that wants to have some pictures and graphics and maybe your logo in your email, then you're going to want to be going with the visual editor. And again, the whole point of this is to make sure that this email is mobile friendly. So we're just going to do my test email. And we will click on save. We'll select a template. We're going to select this one and we'll do save. And there's our test email. We're going to go ahead and click into the test email. That looks fine. And very first thing that I'm seeing right now is with this logo, you can't even really read it. So again, this is the template that's provided from system. And yet right away, there are some things you're going to want to tweak. Not that, you're not going to use the default logo anyway, but if you did have a logo where you can't read it, you're going to need to change the size of your logo. So let's just click into here and get into our editor. We're going to go up here to this logo, click on it, and then we're going to make that image a little bit bigger so that, hey, you can actually read that. All right. Next thing that you want to do while you're scrolling through this is looking at the images that you're putting into the email and make sure that they make sense. Make sure that people can actually read them when they receive them. So here, obviously, when we're looking at it on our desktop, everything's fine. But if we go over to the mobile view, again, everything's kind of fine here. We do have to do this. However, that's just on this built-in system.io viewer. When you actually look at this on a mobile device, more than likely that's going to be changing, and we'll test this out and I'll show you on my phone. Again, even here, you're having to scroll. That's not a big deal as far as making sure it's mobile friendly. But this is what I really want to point out. You can't really even read this. You can kind of read that. That's saying contact form, and I think convert. It says there, contact those who showed up, I think is what that says, and then a webinar landing page. Again, kind of hard to read, and I imagine if I'm having a hard time reading it, think about your audience who gets this email, right? So when you go and include an image, make sure that, for me, I would probably make the text here almost as big as that. Take out this fancy little bar here. If you scroll down, I'll show you this here. A little bit more legible. You can read this a little bit better. I still want it a little bit bigger, but there's no reason why you couldn't have done something similar to this up here, so that it's a little bit easier for the person who is receiving this email to actually read it. Now, here's the big thing that I really want you to be aware of on a mobile. Learn more here. It's all stacked. That doesn't look good. So we're going to click into this, and we're going to go back over here to our button options. And the very first thing that I'm going to do is this needs to be a lot bigger anyway to read. So we're going to do something like that. Now, we don't want this to be stacked like that, and the reason that's being stacked like that is more than likely they've got margin or padding coming into play here. All right, and right down here, there's our padding. We got some margin here. Again, I say on almost all my videos, padding is the amount of space that's inside the element, so the amount of space between the learn more here and the edges of the button. Margin is the space between the outer edges of the element and the elements that are neighboring it. So we've got this text element up here, then we got our button, and so margin affects the space between the text and the button. What we're worried about here is our padding. And you can see right here, there's a ton of padding on the left and right, and that's why this is being stacked. So if you take this down to like 50 and 50, boom, you now have a button, just looks better. So if we go back, that's fine still. And then we go back down in here and take a look at this here, and everything's looking good. So we'll go ahead and click on Save Changes. Let me go again, back up, make sure that did okay as well. And then again, if this was an email I was going to actually be sending out, I would be changing this right here. Now notice what happened here. Now when we go in here, that slider is gone. And that's, again, a little quirk with System, that sometimes when you click on the mobile version, you'll have the slider, sometimes you don't. And this is, again, a lot like what we're going to be seeing on the mobile kind of version when you email somebody. We'll go ahead and pull this up on my phone and see what it looks like on an actual email on a mobile device. Save Changes. We're going to click out, and then we're going to do a save and test. That looks good. Going to confirm. And now we'll go to my phone and open it up. All right, we'll go ahead and minimize this. We're going to bring my phone over. We're going to go into our mail, and this is what it's looking like. So that's also kind of a helpful thing. I've got the dark mode on, so something else to kind of keep in mind is we might want to change the colors of our logo and our text to maybe be something that would be viewable on both a light background and a dark background. So what I'm thinking here is maybe use like a lighter gray for this like book pages here, and then maybe blue on the writing here are all things to maybe keep in mind. But here, as we scroll through now, this is what the user is going to be seeing on their phone. Again, on the computer, as I reflect this onto the computer, it looks okay. We can read it. On my phone itself, it's still a little small. I think I would actually blow up this text. Whoops. I would blow up the text here. But again, here on this image right here, again, a little bit hard to read, extremely hard to read on my phone though. So like I said, blowing these up so that the recipients can actually read these would definitely make sense. I would not have used this particular image the way it is. But again, we're going to scroll all the way down, and we're going to take a look at, and there's our button. Button came up fine. All right, so there it is. That's how you would go in and make sure that your emails are responsive and mobile friendly when you're creating them if you're using the visual editor in System.io. Now, if you're liking this video and you want to see more videos on System.io, we have a whole playlist. So go ahead and check that out. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.